Larana, and it's time for Rose Garden Radio, live from the very center of the universe, Canton, Ohio. Yay, here we are. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm really glad I'm here, and I'm going to continue to, let me tell you, if this is your first visit to Rose Garden Radio, it's dedicated to help you shift your life from what we call 3D to 5D, living your dream life fully from the center of your heart and living the dream. And you can do it. It's absolutely possible. And as many of you know, I tell real stories of real people, mostly from Canton here, that are doing just that. But today you've been helping me do the last deep dive edit on my young adult book called A Weekend with Aunt Larana and the Sisterhood of the Golden Rose, and that will eventually be available. But so thank you for helping me. So I'm going to read a little bit of it today, and I appreciate your comments and you know, PMing me and everything and helping me get this in the best shape it can be. So without any further ado, we left off last time where Aunt Larana and Amy had gone to Colette's salon. They're back in the 1776 and they're getting ready for the ambassador's ball at Versailles. And so they just left Colette's salon. Here I am. They just left Colette's salon. And so I will read on. And this is Amy speaking. Walking out of Colette's salon, I felt like an actress dressed stacked at least a foot high. Aunt Larana's updo was entwined with rare orchids, and mine was adorned with wild flowers and baby's breath. There seemed to be some little twigs and branches in there, too. I realized that our heads were a piece of art. I was wondering why anyone would go through all this when Aunt Larana must have picked up on my thoughts again because she answered my question. There was much less to fill the days of the more privileged classes in these times, Amy. So fashion and beauty filled a void. Those of us with a more advanced consciousness played along or not, depending on the situation. Our carriage slowed to stop in front of a quaint-looking bistro, and Philippe came around to to help us step down. I need to change that a little bit, so I will. When Aunt Larana and I entered the establishment, I tried to hide my astonishment when she was greeted by name. Mademoiselle Larana, how nice to see you. We have your favorite table ready, and Chef Nina has prepared one of your favorite desserts for tonight, the elegant older gentleman said, beaming his big smile onto us. Let me add that. One of your favorite desserts for tonight. For this evening. That's better. Thank you. How you spoil me, and I love it, my aunt squealed in delight. Andre, may I present my niece, Ami Hill? Enchanté, Ami, Andre said, while bowing slightly and kissing my hand. Enchanté, Andre, I said automatically, surprising myself. Allow me, Andre said as he linked his arms into each of ours and escorted us into the dining room. Our table was set in a little alcove, and there were heavy, dark red velvet drapes that hung on each side of the entry. Andre pulled our chairs out for us and ensured we were comfortable before taking his leave. As he backed out of our space, he grabbed a heavy drape in each hand and began to pull them shut. Andre, leave them open for a while, s'il vous plaît, Aunt Larana said softly. As you wish, Larana, he said, and slightly bowed as he exited our private dining area. Merci, my aunt replied sweetly, giving him her special smile. I've never seen drapes hung like this in a restaurant before, I said after Andre departed. In this period, they are often used for privacy and warmth while dining. Andre reappeared a few minutes later with a bottle of chilled champagne, which he opened effortlessly. He took two flutes off the sideboard near our table and automatically poured us each a glass of the bubbly. This is something I had never experienced before, and I was beginning to like being treated more like an adult than a child. I noticed my champagne flute was filled less than my aunt's, yet I still felt grown up for only being 16. There's no legal age requirement to drink alcohol here, Aunt Larana said, noticing my nervousness at being served. Many apothecaries around this time made health tonics using local flowers and herbs extracted in alcohol that were called bitters. They were taken by all ages to boost immunities, Aunt Larana shared. I love it when you tell me historical tidbits, Aunt Larana, I said sincerely. I was completely fascinated by everything I was experiencing and learning. Then here's one more. We are not affected by alcohol in this dimension. Our energetic frequency is very high here, and the toxic effects of alcohol operate on a lower bandwidth of frequencies. We just receive the good energetic properties of the drink from its herbs and flowers, like we would if it were heavily diluted. This is why you have not seen me dilute my drinks and why I have allowed you to drink so often, Aunt Larana explained. As I watched my aunt from across the table, I saw her face light up even more. Elizabeth, how lovely to see you, Aunt Larana said to a woman passing by on Andre's arm. You look stunning as usual. Please meet my niece, Ami, she said, flowing her hand in my direction. Ami, this is Elizabeth Lebrun. I recognized the name. Elizabeth Lebrun, the artist? I asked enthusiastically. Wow, I have never had this kind of reception before. Someone recognizing my name as a painter, Elizabeth said, beaming a shy smile my way. I must be making a little name for myself of late, she said, blushing. Please join us, Elizabeth, Aunt Larana said as Andre pulled a chair out for our new guest. He poured Elizabeth a glass of champagne as she settled herself comfortably into her seat. Then, with a knowing nod to my aunt, pulled the drape shut as he departed. I watched Elizabeth as she visibly exhaled. I could feel her relax and open up a little bit. Salut, my dears, to the occasion of being together, Aunt Larana toasted, laughing lightheartedly as we all clinked our champagne glasses together. Ami, your aunt has been one of my biggest and truest patrons. Larana has always encouraged me to follow my heart and trust that everything will work out if I do, Elizabeth said with tears glistening her eyes. That sounds just like her, I beamed. I think you should keep following your dream too, I said, smiling broadly, recalling my history of art classes. I didn't remember any specifics, but knew Elizabeth Lebrun had been mentioned as an important female artist. Larana, you must tell me immediately. I observe a very distinct change in you, Elizabeth said, glancing over at me for a split second before continuing. Elizabeth looked like she could barely contain her excitement. You are both glowing with light. I can feel the energy you are emitting, and I see particles of light scattered all around you and your niece. And you are an only child, Larana, so what is going on? Elizabeth asked, looking intensely back and forth between our faces as she waited for a response. I looked at my aunt, wondering how she was going to handle this. As my aunt looked up and into my eyes, I felt the energy of our hearts collide, and in that instant, I knew she would keep our secret. I think that's enough for tonight, and I hope you're having a fabulous Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you the next Rose Garden Radio, or if you stop by at the shop Thursday through Sunday. So anyways, that's it for now, and I'll have more for you next week. Thank you so much, and I love you all. Bye for now.